This is what I wanted to. I was thinking about this, and I'll probably write about it soon on my Substack. But um, I read a great book one time. I don't know if I would. I'm no psychologist, so all I can do is just read something, see what rings true. But this was a book called The Courage to be Disliked, and I recommend the book. It's very interesting. It's kind of like a Socratic conversation between a student and a mentor,
Oh,
and it's written by a Japanese man who basically was trying to meld the philosophy of Aristotle and the psychology of Alfred Adler. You guys ever
wow.
heard of Alfred Adler? He
Yeah.
was at one point considered one of the big three with Freud and Jung, but then kind of most people know who Freud and Jung are, but they don't know who Adler is. But Adler's psychology has made its way so much into the mainstream that you'll know his ideas more than you'll know his name. So, but one of the key concepts of that, and what a title, right? Courage to be disliked. We talked about that title once when we were talking about core statements, because we were talking about core statement has to be transformational on its own. But that title is almost transformational on its own because it says so much. The courage to be disliked. I don't like to be disliked, but when I need to have the courage, what I need to be, it's because it's something I need courage for. And the one of the key concepts is the separation of tasks. Your task and the person you're interacting with has their task. You have your task to say the truth, they have their task to hear it and to respond positively or negatively, act or not act. Parenting is where I think about it the most because it's very hard to know when to try to control your kids and when when you just can't or shouldn't, and maybe you should never try to control your kids, but I always want to. But usually it has to. When I'm thinking about it in terms of parenting, I'm thinking about it in terms of like, do I step in and take over something that they're failing at when it's their task? So
Mm.
like their money, do I make them do their homework? Do I make them study for the test? Do I make them practice their piano or whatever it is? Or do I let them learn to do their task? And that's not that's about the most difficult thing I can think of right now in life is trying to figure out when to do that. As a pastor, I used to think I was responsible for people's spiritual lives, and then I learned that I wasn't responsible for anybody. I was responsible to everybody. And that's helped me so much in writing. I'm not responsible for any reader and how they read what I wrote. I'm responsible to every reader, and as far as like that, I speak the truth. So, and we think a lot about the reader and how they're going to hear what we're saying, or if they're going to understand. But it's very freeing to not go further than you need to go on that. You want to be as clear as possible, but at some point you really have to let the reader have their task and focus on your own task.